Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Mika Frankl, joined by the gamer Jordan Espinosa. It's been a long time since we talked on camera, sir. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. It has been a long time, 14 months.
14 months, a lot has happened, a lot's changed. So let's go back real quick to leaving the octagon from the last fight. What was your thought process on moving forward from that fight?
Well, I was about 95, 98% sure that I was getting cut. uh, I mean, I had kind of figured, um, I was even worried about that even before that last fight. I was like, shit, I lost. I think at that point was 3 out of my last 4. So when they gave me the opportunity just to even fight Tim Elliott, I was like, all right, well, I definitely have to win this one. Otherwise I'm getting cut for sure. So I don't know, man, it was shitty. I don't know. It's just rough. So it's like the 10 years to get to the UFC, and I had 6 fights in the UFC, and I won a couple. I mean, I realized those were accomplishments in themselves. I think after my first fight, I was number 8 in the world at flyweight. And then for it to kind of end how it did and the performance I had, definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. And so I'm ready to kind of get that out of my mouth and get a win. Fuck, it's been almost 2 years since I've won a fight, and that's crazy. This is the longest break I've ever had in my entire 13-year career. So I'm ready to get back in there.
You made a lot of adjustments I alluded to. When did you decide that it was time to find some different scenery than Albuquerque? Now you're out fight ready in Phoenix, Arizona. When did you start thinking that a move may be necessary to benefit your career?
I mean, I've always kind of, I don't know, kept my options open, and like I'm always, I don't know, I'm always aware that things can change and things can change quickly in life in general. I've trained at other places in the past, but me and my girlfriend just had a talk, and we were like, would you be interested in, what do you think about moving? And then we kind of came to, didn't want to move anywhere too far from her family. She's born and raised in New Mexico, and I have some family out here, and there's some good gyms out here, and so this was kind of a natural place. It just kind of worked out. Coach Ray Yee in Albuquerque knew Coach Eddie Chow, the striking coach here at Fight Ready, and my management knew the head coach Santino DeFranco at Fight Ready, and so I decided I would check that place out first, and I really liked it, and I've been there ever since. So I've been there since October of last year.
What was there to like? What fell into place?
Well, it was pretty cool. When I first got there, Figgy was getting ready for his fight with Moreno, his rematch, and then it got pushed back a little bit, so I got to be there for that camp. And then Wei Li was getting ready for her fight with Rose, so I got to be there for that camp. And then I got to see Zombie get ready for his fight. Yuri Pasha came in. I get to watch him get ready. I mean, this is kind of cool. You just see all these other people, and I get to take in knowledge from all these great different people and coaches, and a lot of high level training. I mean, like, it took me a while to kind of get my rhythm going with training and just kind of healing up from my wrist surgery, but I like it a lot. And after the first couple months, and after I got a good rhythm with training going, I feel like I've been here for 5 years now. So
You haven't been away from the cage really much at all throughout your professional career. This is the longest break of that professional run. What has that been like? You chomping at the bit to get back in there?
oh, for sure. Like I said, it's been almost 2 years since I've won a fight. 14 months is the longest I've ever taken off in 13 years. So yeah, I'm definitely chomping at the bit. I'm in really good shape. I just want to go out and have the performance I know I can have. And I know that I don't want to make excuses, but I was fighting the best people in the world at 125. So I know all of my competition was really good, and like I was fighting at the top of the food chain. So now I just want to go out there and compete. I don't care really about the competition. I want to go out there, take it one fight at a time, get a W, and then we'll see what's next from there.
What was it like, the recovery from your first major surgery?
Oh, it sucked. You never really notice how much you use. It was on my dominant hand too, so you never really notice, or I took for granted just some of the normal things that you do on a daily basis that involves your hand that was taken away from me for a few months. Plus, opening doors, I don't know, picking up a gallon of milk, just things like that. Um, so honestly, at first it was kind of shitty, but I got used to using and more proficient using my left hand for things. Um, and then it also helped that I had my girlfriend here to help me with stuff too. So it sucked at first, but like everything else, just to deal with it. Had a lot of rehab and stuff, and it's good. It's good. I probably only took, I don't know, 3 months off from like doing anything, and then I got back into strength conditioning. I got back into um, physical therapy, and then I was probably able to start doing like wrestling, grappling, and hitting and all that stuff about 5 or 6 months in. So yeah, it's been good now.
Combate America is the platform you're going to be returning to, and you're going to be taking on Jose Zara. I
Yeah,
probably
his name is pronounced Jose Zarauz from Peru.
from Peru. He has a lot of experience on his record. I'm sure you did not care who it was you were fighting. You were happy to get a fight, but now that you've looked into the matchups, what do you feel are going to be your biggest advantages here?
Yeah, so he's probably going to be a little bit bigger since he's fought at 145 several times in his career, and I believe his last fight was actually his first fight at 135. But I mean, like I've had my entire career, and even at 125s, I will for sure have a speed advantage, movement advantage, athleticism, that type of thing. I imagine he will be much slower than me on the feet. um, and from all the fights that I've seen, he's gonna try to clinch me and kind of make it a ugly, grindy, clinch, take me down, hold me down type of fight. And he probably thinks he could do so if you watch my last fight.
So, not to mention how hungry you are, but the perfect opponent to kind of get that feeling off of. You can correct some of the mistakes that you felt you made in the last one, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's weird because when I started my career, you probably remember this. Like I was a wrestler, right? Like I was an overhand right, double leg takedown type of fighter with okay striking. And then now, and seemingly like the past 5 or 6 years, it's been people are trying to take me down and hold me down and all that kind of stuff. So I want to remind people that I actually can wrestle. It's actually my background. It's probably the reason I'm even in MMA. Um, so yeah, I am expecting a much more to showcase a much more like well-rounded skill set. And yeah, that's going to be on display here next week.
Do you feel like that's one of the biggest adjustments that we're going to see out of this now 14-month away from competition? Jordan is mixing things up a bit more.
I mean, I think you could definitely expect some of the things you've seen in the past, good speed, heavy kicks, or lots of kicks. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, you had asked me about correcting some of the mistakes from my last fight, and a lot of that was just like kind of technical things being held down, having my back against the fence, just being more aware of my like cage awareness. So yeah, all of the training, all of the work I've been doing for the past 5-6 months since I've been out here, I do think that'll be on display, and you should be able to see a huge difference from the last fight to now.
New promotion, you're living in a new place, got a new corner, new voices. Is there an excitement for how different or new of an experience this will be?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, if nothing else, because it's just because I haven't done it in so long. Like, this is what I do this shit because it makes me feel fulfilled as a person, and I enjoy it, and I haven't stopped enjoying it. It's been 13 years, and like, I want to get back in there and fight because it's fucking fun to me. And like, I couldn't imagine my life without it. So yeah, the biggest thing, I want to go in there, I want to put on a great performance. I want to have.
Okay, we're back from break now, everybody, with Jordan Espinosa. Unexpected little technical difficulty right there. Might have talked too long and I guess pre-Zoom conversation, and I think I used up the full meeting time there. You were saying though, sir.
Yeah. Well, sorry. What was the question again?
I think you were talking about your goals for the performance and really what you wanted to do out there.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is this. Yeah, like I do this because it's fulfilling to me, and I mean, 14 months off of not having what I love to do is rough, and it was hard. So yeah, more than anything, I'm just ready to go back in there and have some fun.
Did you feel all those 14 months? Because it sounds like with the wrist surgery, the rehab, moving, getting into another gym, I almost would expect that you were so busy that maybe the first 5 or 6 months kind of passed before you knew it.
Nah. I mean, being in a cast and having constant pain to remind you why you can't train, like, yeah, those days were long. And so it definitely did not go by fast. If anything, it drug on for a long time. But once I finally was able to start being more active and just getting back into the groove of things and getting settled down here in Arizona, like, then it felt more like, okay, all right, this is what I do. So like what I'm used to. So yeah.
How much reviving is it when you get into that new gym, that new environment? I know you've taken some trips out to Glory, and now, like we mentioned, you've relocated, but you've got to learn new bodies because it's something new. It's almost not as intense as a fight, but that's still kind of new relationship all the time.
For sure. It's new bodies, new kind of relationships and interactions with coaches and different people. I don't know. I've always kind of been decent at injecting myself into new situations and then just kind of adapting. I that's like a point of pride for me. So honestly, it was kind of seamless once I started training, other than like getting used to getting back into like training shape and learning to kind of work around my lingering wrist recovery. After I got through all of that, and it's just now it's like I said, it's like I've been there for 5 years. Cool with all the guys. Me and the coaches have a great relationship. So I'm excited to have my first fight officially under them, and I'm expecting great results.
I know at some gyms you can kind of look at a fighter and, oh, he fights from that gym or he fights from that gym. Would you say that it was a natural kind of molding with the coaches to increase your abilities rather than just kind of adapting their techniques?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like so the head coach is Coach Santino DeFranco. His system is very, I don't know, similar to Coach Luttrell's. But I feel like I fit really well into that type of system. Most of the guys there are really good wrestlers, decent striking. And yeah, Coach Antino DeFranco has more of a jiu-jitsu background, but he's like, use jiu-jitsu to beat people up, which is that's what I like to do. I don't like straight jiu-jitsu. In fact, I can't stand straight jiu-jitsu, but I like that kind of style. And so, yeah, I think me being there has been a kind of a effortless transition in terms of molding my style and adding the things that their techniques and stuff.
Man, I keep waiting for you to mention something hard. I almost want to ask you, but it seems like it's just been kind of smooth sailing for you. About what's been the hardest transition about this whole move, a new team, everything. It just sounds like the hardest thing is that you haven't got to compete.
I mean, for sure, the hardest thing is I haven't got to compete, but like the hardest thing out of all of it is just so this is my first time having surgery, but I had never taken off more than 4 weeks in 13 years of training, period, of doing something. I've never in my life, or since I was 14, since I started wrestling, never took off more than 4 weeks of training. So the hardest thing for me was just sitting there with the cast on, not really able to do much. And just kind of letting my body heal was fucking nerve-wracking. So like that was the hardest part. Now, once I'm able to move, once I'm able to like do things that I enjoy doing, which was hard for me to do this time last year, then things are a little bit easier. But I don't mean to say all this to say that this whole situation's been super easy. It's just that I've finally found like a good training rhythm and a good like lifestyle rhythm that I didn't really have before, or at least initially when I first moved out here. So,
and if we can see the t-shirts kind of coming in and out of the screen like right there, it's the gamer. It's not just a logo or a moniker. So I'm sure you found a way with one good hand to still rack up a lot of time on the PC. You're like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I almost want to say, I don't want to say I know you that well, but I got an inkling of where a lot of those hours were burned up.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Even when I had one hand and I had my cast, I was gaming. I forget one of the games in particular. I had Googled, I looked up, I was like, games to play with one hand on PC, and I found a bunch of games to play with one hand. But after about 6 weeks, I was able to use my other hand. Like it wasn't very mobile, but like I could still game with it. Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, of course, I'm going to be playing games till I'm 90 or until I like have dementia. And even then I'll probably still be playing games.
I was just saying you found something to do with the time. I didn't know what to do with myself.
For sure. If ever I am bored, or if ever there's nothing to do, my nothing to do is fallback is always video games.
What is your expectations for the rest of the year now? What does it look like now that you're having this first fight with Combate? We're sure you're hungry to compete. What is the rest of 2022 looking like?
I mean, well, if I come out of this unscathed as I plan to, like I said earlier, I really do just want to take it one fight at a time. I'm focusing on getting better and growing. So one fight at a time. If I come out of this unscathed and with a win, I would like to get another fight before the end of the summer, maybe. And then if all goes well, have another fight before the end of the year, be on a 3-fight winning streak, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, my goal right now is just to get better, continue getting better, stay in shape, stay healthy, get a win next Friday, and then move on from there.
You brought it up before earlier on when we were talking. 135 is where this fight's taking place. We saw you in the UFC at 125. 135, 125, permanent move, still open to both. What's the thoughts on that situation?
I mean, it's kind of on a fight-by-fight basis. But this fight, I got like 2 weeks notice. So, I mean, if I want to cut to 125, I mean, I would like to have a little bit more notice. It's not like I wasn't training and stuff, but cutting down to 125 kind of requires like a pretty strict diet that I don't know if it's necessarily sustainable unless I have a fight coming up. So it depends. My one fight in the UFC that I had at 135, I won. So that whatever that means. I mean, I know I fought Mark De La Rosa, who was a 25er as well, but still, I'll take it. Yeah, that's my thing. It kind of depends. It depends on a lot of things. When I get the fight, who the opponent is, the style, blah blah blah. I'm in this weird kind of place as being a UFC vet. So everyone wants to get to the UFC or a bigger promotion by fighting like bums or less risky, and I'm considered high risk because or harder fight since I was a UFC veteran or am a UFC veteran. But then on the flip side, there's like they'll offer me like 9-0 guys for like $1,000, and I'm not trying to do that either. So yeah, the weight is it's dependent. It's on a fight by fight basis.
The weight is still on a fight by fight basis. Stepping outside of your career real quick, I thought of somebody that I know kind of from the old gym that you were at, from the trails, and that also is under that Combate banner that you're really close to, and wanted to get your thoughts on how Melissa Amaya has been progressing as a budding star there under their banner, going from when you first saw her come into the gym to the martial artist she is now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, she's like one of my best friends. She's now 3-0 in the span of like 6 months. It's kind of crazy. But no, I'm super proud of her. I was there, I believe I was there her very first day she showed up at the gym. And me and her have a great relationship. We're good friends. She's friends with my girlfriend. Like, I'm super proud of her. One of these days, maybe we'll fight on the same card together. Yeah, no, it's just awesome to see. Crazy, like I was saying earlier, it's crazy how like things can just change so quickly. She was 0-0, and out of nowhere she's a 3-0 pro now. So there you go.
Did you see that coming? Did you see her wanting to compete with? I met her at Comic-Con. She came up to me to have me take a picture of her and Andreas. And at that point, he's like, yeah, she trains at the gym. I don't know if she's going to fight or not, though. So from that to this, I'm blown away. I didn't know if you saw it coming.
For sure. I'm not going to lie and say I saw it coming, but like when she moved out there to Washington, I know she was training with Juliana Pena and them. And so I'm sure she got crazy amounts of encouragement and inspiration just from training with her and seeing them work day in and day out. And then at that point, it's just like kind of self-belief and then getting the fight yourself and getting the experience. And once she decided she was going to take a fight and do it, she did it. And so now she's doing it. So it's pretty cool to see. It's just, I'm really not surprised anymore about how fast like things can change and how fast like awesome things can happen. I mean, I'm not surprised by how bad things can turn as well, but it's really cool to see that. Yeah, she's a professional fighter now. It's 3-0.
We were both there, saw you, talk to you at UFC 274 this past weekend. How much do you think confidence plays into the career turnaround that we've seen Charles Oliveira go through? A guy that kind of crumbled in some fights, and now, dude, it just seems like confidence, self-belief. I don't know what it is, but that boy's willing to stand in the phone booth now in a way that he would not.
That shit is wild. It's crazy. Like it doesn't happen that often, and I think you kind of got to be a special kind of dude. Like he's always had like really fucking good technique, especially in jiu-jitsu. I think he just became more confident with his hands and just kind of started having like a fuck it mentality. Like if I get dropped, it doesn't matter, and you gotta have to separate me from consciousness. Otherwise, I'm coming for your head. It's like when he stands up, he's still trying to kill you. But then he also no one wants to go to the ground with him. So it's wild to see, because I remember he first came into UFC. I think he was, I don't know, maybe like 10-0, and then like lost 2 or won 2, lost 2, and like was kind of up and down, got submitted by fucking Anthony Pettis and beat up by Cub Swanton. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that like the same guy, I think all of his losses are in the UFC, every single one of them. And now he's demolishing the 55 weight class. It's wild.
And I got to then turn it over the conversation to kind of where you're at in your career. I know you and mentally how headstrong and confident you are. Did you have to have any of these conversations, or have you been confident in the path, even though you've, suffered some else? Have you been confident in the path you're on?
Yeah, I mean, it's been ongoing throughout my career for sure. But a long time ago, probably after the first Nick Urso fight, I kind of made a decision of like, I can be happy without always focusing on like throwing all my eggs into one basket, focusing completely on MMA and thinking that it's my life. And if I lose, my life is over. And if I win, it's the greatest thing ever. Like, don't get me wrong, I love competing. I love winning. But MMA in and of itself isn't what determines my happiness. There's a lot of things that do that. There's my relationships with people, how I treat people, just things like that. And so my goals in life outside of fighting. So that being said, confidence and like struggling with my losses and struggling at getting better or being unproficient in a certain area. Sure, I've struggled to be confident in certain aspects of my game, or just like, am I good enough? Like, should I be in the UFC kind of thing? I've struggled with that several times throughout my career, but I don't know. I've always, and maybe this is the more cocky side of me, but I've always like felt in every single one of my losses to this day, for the most part, that like, damn, it really is like kind of a game of inches. Like I make a couple different decisions, whether technical in the fight or just like leading up or whatever, and things could be totally different. So I know skill wise and technique wise and all that stuff, work ethic wise and mentally, that I'm there, but sometimes this thing's just a game of inches, and like any mistakes in preparation, any lapse of judgment in the fight, and that's it. And that's kind of life though. So I try not to be too hard on myself whenever I do make mistakes, because it's going to happen.
And how stressful is the high pressure decision making of an MMA fight? Because people don't think of it in that context. They're like, you're getting in there and fighting, and you don't think of it if it's 100 million micro decisions that lead to everything that happens as they're fighting.
Yeah, so this upcoming fight is going to be my 35th fight, including amateurs. MMA fight, it's not even including my professional boxing fights or any of that. So it definitely gets I don't want to say easier. It's easier to handle and easier to recognize certain feelings and things the more you do it. But yeah, people don't really truly understand. It's kind of why I don't like, you see all the talk online and stuff talking shit about Rose and Carla and their fight, but like, people don't understand that shit's not easy. Like, one person's trying to implement their game plan against another, and it's for a world title, and there's 18,000 people screaming. Like, it's hard shit, and it's stress inducing, and you got to handle that stress, and you're adrenaline dumping, and it's wild. Now, I've never fought for a title at that scale, but like, I understand the magnitude of just like, oh fuck, there's another trained fighter across from me that's really good, one of the best in the world, and they're trying to hurt me. That in and of itself, even if there was zero pressure of a title fight, that's really difficult to handle. Some people handle it better than others. Some people find what works for them. But I don't think it's necessarily an exact science that like someone can write down and someone follows it and have the same results every time. That's what's kind of cool about the journey, that like every athlete also has to have their approach, and mentally and physically, to help them get through the situation and the fight, and hope and have confidence that their approach will lead them to the results they want.
You've competed on many stages, and like I said, we saw each other at the fight. You were a spectator. There's something just different about the live experience of the UFC, even from all the experience that you've had at live events, right?
Oh, 100%. And this was my first big UFC event as a spectator. I actually never even watched a UFC event. I had 4 fights in the UFC myself before I ever went to one as a spectator. Even the one I went to was a small fight night one back in Albuquerque. This one was next level. It was fucking crazy. Even my girlfriend was like, wow, this is way better in person than on TV. Yeah, it's something weird and cool about the energy of the crowd, and just the chaos and the tragedy and the terrifying knockouts, that watching them in person, like I don't know, it's almost kind of hard to put in words, but I think it's fucking awesome.
And now you've been back out on the hunt looking for fights. As we said, you found one with Combate, but we can now ask you, it's better to be with the UFC than on the outside, it feels like.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm like this weird free agent with like people turning down fights, and like hard to find fights, and pays not as good, and like all of the above. And at least I had some sense of job security back then. But I don't know. Like I said, like one fight at a time. As long as I'm getting better, as long as I'm staying healthy, then I can continue doing this for as long as I want. That's the goal. Stay better, or get better, continue to grow, and stay healthy. If I could do those things, then the career can keep going. But yeah, being in the UFC as opposed to where I'm at now, yeah, not anything against Combate. I just mean like the state of being like kind of in the Wild West. Yeah. In the Wild West of like trying to find right fights on the regional scene and all that. Yeah. Being in the UFC was definitely better.
Yeah, that's why I kind of try to word it like, before you were with Combate, I'm like, yeah, because I don't know, we're seeing you at 35, and this is just a far-fetched idea. Do you think we could pack on the pounds to get you to 45 to go for that PFL belt?
No, hell no. I will never fight at 45s ever. I mean, I guess unless I just hit like some fucking crazy growth spurt while I'm 35, like, no, that's not gonna happen. I'm 32, by the way, but yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I plan on being at either 135 or 125. I've never fought outside of that in my entire career. I'm at a good weight now, and when I'm training and in good shape, I'm at a decent weight. So yeah, you're never gonna see me at one featherweight.
It's just their lightest weight class. It's the easiest. It's not like Bellator does bantamweight Grand Prix every year to get you that $1 million.
They got one going on right now.
Well, if they have an alternate spot and they need another one, if another dude, heaven forbid, another dude falls out of that tournament, yes, no, I would say you should be alternate.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It all depends on like one, where the opportunities lie, obviously. And two, I got to make myself kind of an attractive choice. And the best way to do that is by winning fights. And so I'm planning to get back on the winning track next week, and it's going to be about damn time.
do you then recognize not wanting to add more risk into what you're doing, but little more cognizant of a finish is going to kind of look better at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always recognize that and understand that. But for me personally, I'm coming off of 2 losses. Like my main goal is just to get a W. I don't care if it's a finish. If it's a finish, that'd be fucking amazing. But I don't care if it's a finish or if I win by decision. The goal for me is a W, and then we'll see what's up after that.
One more time, the t-shirt, where can everybody pick it up? I saw there are many a different kind of merchandise with the logo available. Where can they pick them up?
Yeah, so I got t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, baby onesies, youth sizes, stickers of the gamer logo. And yeah, you can pick it up at thegamermma.com. It's my own personal merchandise store. And that's thegamermma.com.
Anything specifically special about the logo that we need to know about?
Well, they have some cool kind of gaming references on them, but I'll let people see if they can figure them out themselves. I know what they all are, obviously, because I helped design the shirt, but yeah.
So we got some Easter eggs there on the shirt for everybody.
Yep, including in the title.
Jordan Espinosa, Combate America. We're going to see you back in action next Friday night. Happy to see you getting back to fighting.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be back in there. I'm not going to get too excited yet until both of us weigh in and I know the fight's going down for sure because I've had too much fuckery happen.
And real quick, do you think it'll serve you beneficially that I believe they're still doing are they still doing them in Miami in the studio?
I believe so, yeah. So I don't think there's going to be a crowd. I think it's going to be kind of just a cage in there and then the production team and then fighters and cornermen. I think. I'm like 90% sure.
You're already kind of used to that environment. Any advantage for you there?
I don't think it's an advantage. I haven't fought in 14 months. I'd call that a disadvantage. But yeah, I'm not worried about the environment. Honestly, that's kind of the last thing on my mind. I think I'll be fine. At this point, I know that guy has a lot of experience, but so do I. And I feel like I've fought in basically every kind of environment. So I'm not really worried too much about that.
Oh, and shit, I was going to let you go before I asked you. Dominic Cruz does not believe in ring rust. Where are you on that theory?
I think it's always better to be active. I think you get a sense of familiarity and comfortability when you're constantly competing. Now, some people can fucking not fight for 3 years and maybe still muster up that sense of familiarity and comfortability. Good for them. I haven't taken this much time off, so I guess we're gonna see. But I think I'll be all right.
It's good getting to talk to you, buddy.
It's good to talk to you too, Micah.